Welcome to the Real College Life Podcast. My name is Ryan Nadel, and I am the crew team leader in Central Wisconsin. This podcast is designed for people who are in college, headed to college, and even loved ones of those who might be related to people in college and headed to college, to talk about faith, college, and really getting the most out of your faith life while you're in college. So excited about this podcast. We are going to be talking about college partying, which is maybe not, I don't know if this is the only place that I've ever heard a podcast about college partying. Maybe there are more out there. But it's definitely a huge thing. So I have three friends with me. And Lauren, I'll start with you. Why don't you introduce yourself, maybe what your major was in college, what you're doing now, and tell us a little bit.
Yeah, my name is Lauren Lindahl. I was a student here at Point. That's like the slang term in case people haven't heard that. We just call it Point instead of Stevens Point. So I graduated last May, so a year ago, 2023. My major was environmental science and management with an emphasis in environmental education. So I'm not using that right now, though. I interned here with crew. So Ryan is my boss.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a fun year. So I've interned for a full year, and then I'm going to intern again this next year, Lord willing, support raising. So,
Yeah. Nikki?
Hi, my name is Nikki. I'm going to be going into my senior year of college, and I am studying special and elementary education. I don't know what I want to do with that yet. Maybe special ed teacher, maybe general ed teacher. I'm not sure. We'll see.
All right. Cool. Where are you from originally, Nikki?
Amherst, Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah.
25 minutes away from Point. Super
We love
close.
that.
I love it.
Home of the Tomorrow River.
Tomorrow River.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful.
That's cool.
All right. Noah?
I'm Noah. I'm a senior here at Point, and I'm going to school to be a history education teacher. So that's going to go pretty crazy. I'm from Little Chute, and that's where I'm going to student teach next semester. So I'll be out of here.
Let's go, Fox Valley.
Yeah.
Back to the valley. You call it the valley? Is it the valley?
Yeah, the valley.
Is that what the kids call it?
Mm-hmm. The heart of the valley.
The heart of the valley.
Heart of the
Oh.
valley.
the Stinky
Ooh.
Valley.
Yeah.
No,
Little Chute
no,
stinks.
no. Little
It
Chute.
does.
Hey, that's only the
It's
the
the
highway
remnants
side.
of Kakana.
It's the smell
No,
of money.
it's
the
the
smell of money.
landfill. We have a really we
Oh, you
take
got a
in
big
all
landfill.
the we
Really?
take in all the surrounding.
Thanks for doing
cities'
that.
landfill. Yeah, dude, we're just selfless there.
Super generous. So we're indulging in some Carl D's tonight,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Lauren and I we have this peanut butter
Brownie.
brownie thing going on. It's pretty
Yeah.
decent.
And just for all of you to know
In
who
TV
watch
land.
this, Carl D's is lactose free.
What
So
is it really?
it is.
I did not know that.
I didn't know
Yeah, it's like their big claim to fame.
that.
And they also will take your credit
They
card.
will take a credit card.
Not
That is a
belts.
big deal.
No, not belts.
And how's that Oreo deal going over there, Noah?
Dude, I'm so full. I just ate at a family restaurant just before this, so I thought I'd be hungry still. But
You can do it. We'll work up an appetite as we talk.
if this is full by the end, I'm sorry, viewers.
You can switch to a straw maybe.
Yeah, there you go.
eventually.
You got a straw right here, bro. Look at that.
Mhm.
I'll do that.
Wow.
Prep.
Thank you. Thank
We
you.
come prepared on this podcast. Nikki, how's your vanilla shake?
It's really good. Vanilla ice cream is my favorite ice cream.
Me too.
Where's the
Like
best
basic
vanilla?
vanilla
Where's the best
shake.
vanilla
Some
ice
people
cream?
call it really basic, but it's just so good.
I'm gonna put this spoon on this table.
Okay.
Sorry, everyone.
No one touched that spot. Where's the best vanilla ice cream, Nikki?
Honestly,
Yeah.
Belts has a really good
Ooh,
vanilla
okay.
ice cream.
All right. All right.
shake.
Controversial.
But this, I've never had one at Carl D's before, but this is really good.
Is it?
It is
Okay.
really good.
Okay. How about the? So my family and I, we really like the McDonald's vanilla.
Oh,
It's pretty epic.
Mm,
that's pretty good.
You're not there though.
mm-mm. No, because I went there once to get one,
Oh yeah. Here it
and
comes.
there was chocolate in it.
Oh. Well, that would.
At least
turn
the ice cream machine wasn't broken.
Yeah,
That's
You could have
that's
just not
actually that's a
gotten
conspiracy
anything.
Yeah.
theory
For
for
that.
another podcast. We'll talk about that on another podcast.
Just all ice cream. Best, worst.
All right, we're gonna get into the content tonight or today. It is night. I don't know when you're watching this out in TV land,
land.
but we're talking about college partying, and yeah, I think maybe the best way to do this is just for each one of us. So obviously, context-wise, crew is not like on a mission to destroy college partying per se. We're on a mission to bring people to Jesus. But the college party lifestyle isn't always, well, it's not necessarily cohesive with our faith life. And yet it's something that I feel like a lot of students either experiment with or even get really wrapped up into. And this podcast is really designed to just say, hey, like, you're going to get to college, you're going to hear all of these voices telling you, like, cool people are doing this. And we want to just talk a little bit about what it's really like and have an honest conversation about that. So, Noah, why don't you start us off? Tell us a little bit about your story related to faith, partying, and wherever else you want to fill in the gaps.
Okay, I'll just give like a brief summary.
Yeah.
So I grew up Christian, and my family raised me very well, but I didn't really have that, I guess, firm foundation. This is for churchy word. And one of my buddies in golf convinced me to be his roommate at Stevens Point, and I knew that he was a big partier. He was like a big drinker, and I don't know, it was nice to have people want me. So I'm like, I'll do that. That sounds fun. And I checked it out, and it was cool. I enjoyed it. And then I guess right when I got into college, I got just ensnared in it very quickly, and I was just getting like drunk every single day. It was just very bad. I got the frat tried picking me up right away. They're no comment because we're on air, but they're nice people, but they really make you feel like you belong, and you have a sort of identity. And since I didn't have my identity in Christ at that time, I was easily ensnared. So that's kind of how it started. I don't know how in depth you want me to go, but
That's great.
Yeah, okay.
That's
great.
Yeah, and obviously, like, I mean, when you think about whether it's a fraternity or whether it's, a student org or a sports team, like, I played football, so there's like a party culture to just about every dynamic on campus. 100%. And it really is a way of having community. And so, I think in this episode, it's not to throw any one part of the campus, under the bus in any way, because partying is a huge part of college, but it is to say that we never really stop, I think, and ask ourselves meaningful questions about the party dynamic, the party lifestyle.
Just the consequences of it.
The consequences of it, what it's doing to people. And I'm hoping this episode can be a little bit more into that. So, Nikki, go ahead. Share us your story.
Nikki.
Yeah, so I also grew up in a Christian household, and I drank a little bit in high school. That was the cool thing. And I liked to fit in with other people. So I didn't want people to think that I was boring. I cared a lot what other people thought of me. So I would go and I would drink a little bit with them. And then coming into college, I wasn't super intentional about who my roommate was. Coming into college right away, there was a lot of college parties, and the group of girls that I was with were like, yeah, let's go party. So it's like, okay, I don't want to be boring. I want people to like me. I want to fit in. It really draws you in because it looks super fun and enticing, and it's the popular opinion instead of staying in because, that would be boring. I got caught up in that right away. Got a fake ID right away. I'd be drinking, almost every day with my friends, and it just filled me with a lot of guilt and shame. And my relationships weren't the best either. So that happened. That went throughout my whole freshman year. Yeah.
And I think for both of you, you would say, I was coming out of a Christian background, was raised to maybe be better than this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, I think this is such an important conversation for a lot of dynamics, but I definitely think like for students coming into college right now who, you're only seeing one viewpoint, like hearing your guys' story and your reflections on this, I think it's so significant. So, Lauren, why don't you share your story a little bit?
Yeah, mine is kind of a little different than the last two. I don't come from a Christian household that's like pushes faith. I went to church. Parents went to church here and there, but they definitely didn't like help me prioritize it. So that was something that I really felt I was doing alone. Coming into college, I did prioritize a Christian roommate, or at least one that brought her Bible to school. That was our question. We asked each other, "Are you bringing your Bible?" And we both said yes. So we're like, she's probably a Christian. So that was our criteria to figure out if they were a good roommate or not. So that worked out. Freshman year, I actually walked on to the softball team for D3 at Point. And it wasn't something that I was recruited for. So I worked really hard and made it onto the team. Not sure if they did cuts, so maybe I just made it by default. But played in that, and that's similar to these two, like sports team especially. Those are the people you hang out with every single day for hours on end. So you're either in their group or you're not. And so freshman year, I really stiff-armed like just the partying, pushing, and especially as freshmen, you feel when a senior asks you to like come to a party or come hang out with us, everything in you is like, I want to do that so bad. And then I was thinking about my roommate and the peer pressure from joining crew as a freshman and just feeling the guilt in that, and knowing from high school, I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not that person. That's not who I am. Kind of felt the guilt from my parents. I'd call them once a month and they would kind of lay into me like, why aren't you making more friends? You're not putting yourself out there to have fun. That's what college is about. So I took that on quite a bit and just tried to be strong, just ignored them, hung out with my roommate. Her and I were best friends, hung out with crew people, and then COVID hit. So I was a 2019 freshman, so COVID really severed our school year. And so coming off of that following summer, totally different scenario on campus, very secluded. Crew was not the same. Me and my roommate fought quite a bit, just did not talk to each other, just didn't know how to communicate, didn't share things with each other. And that was actually the start of second semester of my sophomore year, so 2021. First semester wasn't bad. But yeah, I don't know if it was the combo of like winter. My parents moved out of my childhood house to a new house. I think that was a big part of it too. I hit this huge bout of anxiety and depression that semester, and so the softball team welcomed me with open arms to just join right into a not great environment, but there was a social life in that, and nowhere else on campus was there anything social. So I just dove right into it. Felt a lot of guilt coming off of each weekend after partying, wanting to be noticed by guys, just like that was just the scene. And then after the high comes off of, oh my gosh, Lauren's finally coming partying with us. It's been a whole year. We finally got her. You feel so included. And then they kind of you're just there. They don't pay attention to you anymore. And then you're just left at random houses when everyone goes to the bars. And you just kind of lose a sense of what you're doing. So I really got roped into that my sophomore year. So
Why do you guys, and anyone can chime in on this, but why do you guys feel like the party crowd like just feels so inviting as a freshman? Like, what is it about being a freshman? I mean, if you could go back to your freshman year and talk to yourself about parties, what is it that draws people in?
Well, I talked to my buddy about this today, and he brought up a really good point. He was saying how like how much social media influences that too. Like it
The
like
pictures that you see
the
on
pictures
social
that you
media.
see, everyone like fakes, like like people took pictures of like Stevens Point like parties, and it's just like gross basements, and they make it seem like the coolest thing ever. And when you're going into college,
Probably the same basements that
yeah,
I went to as a freshman.
They looked
Probably.
better maybe when you
Yeah,
were
maybe-
there at
maybe
that
they
I
point.
don't know.
cleaner.
They're,
Maybe
they're,
they're
They've
cleaner.
gotten
they're pretty
deteriorated
crazy. Oh my
throughout time.
and so I think seeing people that have been, like a year older than me going to college and posting all these cool crazy parties,
Oh yeah.
and then even like my brother, like I don't know, I looked up to my brother, and he fell into that, and I was like, oh, that's just what you do.
That's what you do in college.
That's just what you do in college. And it was like, it was just completely normalized. And that's what sin is. It's
Yeah.
just like, it just becomes more and more normalized. So
Yeah.
I think that was a big thing.
Yeah. I also think coming in as a freshman, I mean, you want to meet people, as many people as you can. You want to get your group. You want to meet your friends. And a lot of people go out and party. So it's like, man, if I want to meet people, I'm going to go party so I can meet a bunch of people.
What's this? Oh, sorry. I always had the stat in my mind that, like you're going to meet your friends in the first 2 weeks of college.
Okay.
And that's like a stat.
Right.
And I don't know. That's
Yeah.
just what everyone
I've
told
never
me.
heard it before.
Everyone
I
told me
haven't heard
that,
that
like, going into
either.
college, like, it's like those first 2
I
weeks.
definitely did not meet my friends in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely did.
Did
I
you?
mean, Noah and I met the first night of college.
At a party?
I was waiting for you to say that.
No, in the basement of Neil.
okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that was something.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here it is. It's proven.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's fact.
It's
yeah,
fact.
but we actually didn't talk to each other at all after that.
No.
Oh.
Unless we played volleyball, but
That's funny.
that's about it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just had that in my mind. It's like, oh, it's
Yeah.
really like you have to be intentional about making friends. And
So
while that
that's-
is, oh, sorry.
No, I just something with the mic. That's a lot of pressure, though, right?
Can I hear you on this headset? I don't think I
yeah.
can.
You,
I can't. Oh, you're just
yeah,
yelling.
You're good.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But that's a lot of
Sorry,
pressure, right?
Yeah, it's like, oh, I need, like, it's like, it's just like I need to make friends,
Yep.
and I need to put myself out in every situation. I can't be that, like Nikki said, the lame person. You
Yeah, it can't be boring.
Can't be boring.
Yeah.
You need to go out.
Mm-hmm.
You're also becoming like a different person if you were like, I'm rewriting like high school me. I'm not that person. I'm like changing everything I want to be.
Yeah.
And you don't know how that's going to impact you. You form your friends and maybe then it's like, oh, I guess they are the party crowd. Ooh, I guess I'm in that now too. Maybe you
Mhm.
didn't think it was going to be
Yeah.
like that, or like, ooh, I didn't know they were like that. I also think for me in high school, you don't associate with other grades. I don't know if other schools did that. Like
Really?
seniors did not talk to freshmen.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
that's
don't know. I
probably- that's
came from
probably
a
good.
huge school, so like that was
Yeah.
maybe just mine. But like from my point of view, it's like if the upperclassmen want you around, that's special, and like
Mm.
you want to feel included, or they're introducing you to people. That's
Totally.
like so inviting, and like you feel so good. And I think that's where my like I just like craved that because I wasn't
Mhm.
getting it in other places. I was like, oh, they care about me. They want me here.
Yeah, I think that's a huge. I mean, I think you have to look at some of the dynamics around college partying and say that there are like, I don't know how to articulate it, but like there's things that draw people in that are just basic human needs. The
Mhm.
need to feel included. Like
Like,
the loneliest moment of my life was the morning I woke up after being dropped off at college. I would say
Yeah.
that for me.
Yeah.
Like,
mm-hmm.
and I was playing football and my roommate didn't show up. And so that, but I just remember either that morning, or the morning after, it was within that week. I just remember it was like the lowest I've ever felt emotionally. And regardless of if that's your story, we all feel isolated and lonely to some extent being at college, the first few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's and because of that, we're like college freshmen are super vulnerable. Like just
you're willing
name
to
that.
jump on the first thing that comes to you.
You
saying,
are.
Oh, let's do something.
Yeah.
And then the fact that it has this allure of being exciting, and it has the allure of meeting somebody. Like, who doesn't want to meet someone in college, right? Like that's kind of all that we're being fed. And so there's a ton of dynamics, I think, as a college freshman, an incoming college freshman, that just make the party scene seem super, super appealing.
Yeah, I think it's also like the easier route to
Mm.
just be like, oh, yes, I will go out and party instead of saying, no, and fear of like judgment from other people.
Totally.
So it's just taking the easy way and being like, yeah, I'll go.
And it definitely feels like everybody, like freshman
Yeah.
year, everybody goes out.
Yeah.
And like you were in the very severe minority when you don't.
Yeah.
And
It's not a great feeling to feel secluded from everybody.
It's super hard. So
yeah.
I think if we're gonna have an honest conversation with like an incoming freshman, if maybe he's listening to this, you know, I would say like, yeah, get ready for it to be difficult if you're gonna take your stand on this. Let's talk a little bit more about what partying is like, in like the most basic elements, right? Like I mean, usually college parties are like, I don't know, for me, dingy basements,
Raunchy.
Raunchy. You know,
Super crowded.
super crowded, buy a cup at the
Yeah.
door, sweaty.
Really sweat. Yeah.
Sweaty.
I was just going to say sweaty.
So
Hot.
it's like a school dance, with like a really awkward basement feel to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it was for me. I don't know if it changed. Has it changed?
I mean, my I don't know, my sinful mindset was I thought it was like super fun, you know, going into it. I'm like, oh, this is
Yeah.
You're also like super extroverted, Noah.
Yeah, I mean, you're
I mean,
an
that's a
extrovert,
part of it,
so I
too.
mean, that's part of the dynamic, though, is that for people who are extroverted, you want to meet people, you want to hang out with people, you want to be around people.
Doesn't
And
matter where.
Doesn't matter
Doesn't-
where, when, how. Like, no, you're the
Yeah.
type of guy that you're gonna like. If there are 20 people in a room, you're gonna have fun.
Yeah.
And like it was like a quick high, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it wasn't
Mhm.
lasting, and it was pretty empty after you like realize it. But going in, like, I don't want to give them the false mindset. It's like, oh, this is gonna be super boring. It's raunchy, and then they come in as like they think it's awesome.
Yeah,
you know
like
what I
I
mean?
went to the best party ever.
It's like I went to the best party ever.
Right.
They were wrong about everything.
Yeah.
Because it will
Right.
feel like the best party ever because you're a freshman.
Well, it's also like what you said about social media. Like everything's depicted of these giant like D1 schools, like Tennessee, or these like football schools that like everything's a party scene. People just look like partiers. Not gonna lie, I don't know how to describe that.
backwards hat. Like, brunette.
Yeah, the cutoff.
Yep.
You know, I think that's just like, not saying like points parties are low key, you know, like tiny, but it's just how they look on social media is quite a different experience than what they
For
really
sure,
are.
For sure.
How would you guys like? When did the party scene begin to like become? When did you become disillusioned, or when did you become like, okay, there's got to be more to life than this?
Yeah. So for me, I think another part to drinking was I'm like, I used to be pretty shy and pretty quiet. So going out and partying and drinking, it made me more outgoing.
Yep.
And I really liked that. But I was really stunting my growth in that area by going out and drinking because, I mean, if I wasn't out drinking, then, you know, I was quiet again. I was shy. I wasn't as outgoing. So that's why I really liked to go out and drink with other people. And then I realized I was like I'm not growing at all in this area. And the only time I feel like super outgoing and talkative is when I was out partying. So I needed to change that. And I need to be like, man, I really need to grow in this area. And going out and partying is not helping at all.
And that's such
in that
a great
area.
observation because I think, you know, a lot of times it'd be like, well, the stereotype is people like that go to crew don't want to drink, don't want to party, they're anti that. But it's like, I think more than just like what we're against, I think that there is a lot of personal development that can happen or that is lacking in, especially when, you know, when you're using alcohol in that way, you're just lacking being developed. And like, as I've gotten to know you, Nikki, like you're a very social person. You have emceed our weekly meeting, and, you know, you've been very outgoing. But obviously, if you'd have stayed in that kind of shell, you probably wouldn't have been able to be developed in those ways.
Yeah, and I think it definitely would have gotten worse. And I'm very thankful that the Lord brought me out of that because I think I would have been more reliant on alcohol as the time went on. And that just, that would probably just not lead me down the right path.
Yeah.
So I'm very thankful that I got out of there.
Yeah.
And I guess to add on to that too, with you being a totally different self when you're drinking, all the people around you are totally different selves when they're drinking. So like you're friends with like somebody that's not even them. You know, it's like oh, these guys are really cool. They're super nice. They're super extroverted. And then when they're not, they're just like
Different people.
totally different people.
Yeah.
You don't even know who you're really hanging
And that
out
makes
with.
it way harder to build relationships.
Yes. 'Cause
Build
you-
like deep, meaningful relationships.
if you feel like you have to do it twice, you have to do it when you're drinking, and then you have to do it when you're
And then you're
Yeah.
like, wow, this guy's not fun
This guy's
unless
not-
I'm drinking with him.
yeah,
You know?
and then you're more likely to drink.
Yeah.
It's like it's a spiral. So.
Even to piggyback off of you, I think not even just stunting your growth of, just like skills that you need to learn while you're sober, just as a regular person, but just how I viewed it. I didn't really think about how vulnerable I was making myself in like those settings, like just like being a girl at a party. Like you don't think about like, oh, I'm just here and completely out of my element, don't even know
Mhm.
where I am. Like I am just learning a lot of the streets in Point and just
Learn the
in the middle of the dark, it's nighttime, you're at this random house that you got driven to, and then people leave and you don't know where you are and you're incapacitated, you're not yourself, and there's people around you that you don't even recognize.
Yeah.
And I didn't, until a couple years after, I'm like, did I even actually think about what I was doing and how vulnerable I allowed myself to be in this position, and like what could have happened to me? Like, Lord, just like by God's grace, I never was involved in anything super severe, but
Mhm.
I can't imagine, like, there's stories that you can read anywhere on the news about things happening to women or girls or whoever at parties, and just you like lose all sense of understanding of what's smart and what's like good to do, and you
So-
just have zero gauge.
I got a question for that. Was it because of the alcohol and you were under the influence, or is it because it was so normalized for that to be okay, or like both? I guess.
I'd say probably just what alcohol does to you, especially I don't know how many people come into college having drank before, if they're more
Mhm.
used to it. I definitely was not. So I don't know if like having done a little in high school, if you were more used to what it did to you. I was so new to it. I was
Yeah, it wasn't.
one drink and I was like, whoa. Like I can't remember how I felt specifically, but just very out of it. I think that, and also just like when you get caught up with the wrong crowd, you do things you don't normally do. And so I just had this energy that I've never had before, just a new experience, new everything,
Mm.
where I'm like, oh, I'm with these people. I'm going to act totally different because they don't know the normal side of me. So I think wrapped up in not even just like what alcohol does to you, the brain, but just being in an environment where I can be a different person. I can be
Mm.
outgoing in a random way. I think both of those mixed together is like a really dangerous combo that you kind of just become, like you were saying, just a different person.
Being in campus ministry, there have been times people have talked to me about some of the abuse and assault that have taken place in the party environment. I think for me, I think part of the reason this is a topic I feel like we need to talk about is just because of that kind of dark side of the partying environment, and how easy it is for something bad to happen when you're not fully there, even drinking things that you don't know who prepared it. Things can go pretty bad pretty quick, and definitely not a good thing.
I'll add. Oh no, you can go.
Nikki, you can go.
Well, if you had something that related to.
Yeah, I mean that dark side that people don't really talk about. It's not just alcohol, and it's not just like weed. It like very quickly can get into like hard drugs, like very fast. I have a lot of people that I was once close with that were like addicted to cocaine, and every party I would go to, they would be like, I would get asked too, like, oh, you want to come upstairs, and and like I would say no, obviously, but like one time, 4 out of the 4 houses we went to, we got offered cocaine.
Wow.
And my buddies took them every single time.
Hmm.
And it's like you don't notice, you don't know that stuff. And I don't know. It just was really, really sad because a lot of them are still like really struggling with it.
Wow.
So
Nikki, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to make another point about like what brought me out of like the drinking scene,
Mhm, mhm.
like kind of what we were talking about before.
yeah, we should get in that. That's good. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh shoot, where is I going with this? Yeah, I also kind of went to that for fulfillment a little
Mm.
bit because I felt that that would make me happy and that would like solve all my problems, you know, especially with like socially.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it says in Ecclesiastes 3 that God has set eternity in the human heart.
Yeah,
So
Mm.
it's like
it's a
nothing
good word.
in this world can fulfill like that longing in our heart for something more and something eternal. Because like things of the world isn't meant to fill that. And I noticed that after I was like, man, this is not fulfilling me at all. And I'm just feeling more empty. And like the big decisions in my life, it was more difficult to make those big decisions, like what I wanted to do with my life. Like my
Mhm.
freshman year, I was undecided, so it was really difficult to figure out what I wanted to do.
Yeah. And I think the party scene does create an opportunity to escape a lot of problems, but, it generally just kind of multiplies it too. And, life has not gotten easier for me since I graduated from college. And now I have 4 kids. And there's times I want to escape. I want to hit a button that would just make the tape go blank for a while. And I think that tendency or desire to escape is always going to be in life because of living in a broken world.
Mm.
But I think like how you, Nikki, addressed like I want to grow, and that growth mindset, I think is really what the Christian life is all about. And I kind of want to spend the next couple minutes before we wrap up just talking about like what do you think faith life, like why do you think faith life drew you out of the party scene? What was it about faith life?
Sorry, did you clear your throat? 'Cause
No,
you were
no,
gonna
I
talk?
just-
Okay.
Ice cream.
I would say for me, I fortunately wasn't in the crew world doing like discipleship or mentoring anyone or leading at all in crew at the time. Would have had probably a lot more guilt if I had, but I had a discipler who I didn't tell any of this to. I had a roommate who I knew cared about me, but we just weren't really bonding at the time. Felt too scared to tell her. And it was a God moment. I didn't pull myself out of it. God just turned my life around in like one afternoon. I just was sitting at a baseball game and drinking in the middle of the day on a Wednesday, and it just hit me like, what in the world am I doing with my life?
Wow.
And so immediately it was, okay, who are the 2 closest people in my life? It's my roommate and my discipler. Immediately I was like, I need to tell these people what I've been doing. Not that my roommate probably knew. I mean, she's not oblivious to me leaving every Friday and Saturday night to go somewhere, but just the confession to her that she maybe already knew, kind of how it is with, and I'm not comparing my roommate to God, but God already knows what I was doing, but just the act of me opening my mouth and confessing what I was doing just brought me so much freedom. And so running to people that I knew cared about me, and just like thanking God for those people in my life that I knew would come around me and not condemn me for what I did, but come around me and help me out. So my roommate, I begged her, I was like, every weekend for the rest of the year, you and I are planning stuff to do because I am not going back, and I'm gonna feel FOMO if I don't have something to do. So her and I planned everything for the next however many weekends to do, and she like really came around me.
And it took like so much intentionality and like so much discipline and focus. Confession is hard,
Yeah.
but being able to do all of that led to
Because drawing away from people, that's what like creates, oh, now I need
right.
the people that I think care about me in
Right.
certain settings. I'd run right back to it
Mm-hmm.
because that's what we just naturally do.
How about you, Nikki? What do you feel like the turn was like? What do you think drew you out?
I think, I mean, the relationships, honestly, you grow, or your relationships are so much deeper. Like in the Christian community, especially like joining crew, I realized right away, I was like, man, these people seem so much more happy and so intentional with the people that they talk to. And I loved it. And I was like, this is an area that I think I could grow in is growing deeper relationships and being more intentional with other people. Yeah.
Do you feel like there was, like Lauren talked about, just having to set up all these structures? Do you feel like for you it was like more of a transition? Like, I'm just kind of walking away from this and I'm getting involved with this. Like, was it more linear?
Yeah. I mean, it was really hard. I had to, because I was still living with my roommate from freshman year. So it was still really hard because I always heard about, you know, my friend group going out and partying on the weekends. And it was really hard to feel left out because I wanted to go and I wanted to have fun. But I know, like, that I shouldn't. I know what the Bible says, that I should not get drunk on wine and be filled with the Spirit. So I was like, I'm not going to go out and I'm not going to party. And I really need to be intentional about that. Just not putting myself in environments also to tempt me to drink. So it was definitely really hard, but it helped that right away sophomore year. I got involved with crew because my brother was part of it and I heard about it. I went once my freshman year, but didn't really feel the need to go back again. It helped that my brother went, so I knew somebody, and then I met some really amazing girls that encouraged me to keep going.
That's awesome. That's awesome. How about you, Noah?
Well, I was involved very quickly on, like, in a Christian ministry, on college campus, and like I you know, I had the double-faced life, and it didn't really, like, I knew what I should have done, but I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna do it. But God really put in my heart, like, it was interesting. It was like just the wrath of God. Like, that's what He really, like, put in my heart. Just like how much He hates that, how much He hates what I was doing, and
Did you have a moment, or did you have like a
it was
season?
just like it was like I think I knew it the entire time. I just didn't really care, probably, but maybe I just wasn't, I guess, regenerated at that time until I really realized. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know,
It's
but
I mean,
it was
it's
really
it's a
interesting.
mystery, but I think like conviction, and even if you're listening to this podcast and you're starting to feel something in your soul that's what I would describe as like dissonant, right? Like it doesn't just. I'm not feeling content with where I'm at in terms of like what I'm doing. I mean, the Spirit of God, I think, impacted my life that way when I was drinking at different points in my high school and early college career. And I think as I grew in my faith, that lack of balance spiritually just kept me. It was enough to walk away from the party scene for me. Because I did feel that conviction, and there was one night, this was in high school, but there was one night where it was just so powerful in my soul that it just kept me awake. But then I think in college, like my first semester, I just hated being at Stevens Point. I hated being here. I wanted to be.
Sucks.
Still a
back.
great school.
It's a great school. I just wanted. I was a homeboy. I had all my friends at home. Obviously, I haven't left in like 25 years, so that tells you anything. But it was so lonely. It was so isolating, and I wasn't partying a lot, and my friends were all back home, and they were still having fun. And so community was really lacking. But when I found Christian community, college Christian community, and started hanging out with people, it was, it led to what I would describe as some of the best 18 months of my life. Just like second half of freshman year into my sophomore year, it was just amazing. The depth of relationship and the depth of community. And I think, maybe to put a bow on this podcast, when I think about why this is such an important topic, it's not because, we're like anti-party, whatever, but it's more because there are opportunities for growth and depth, like you were talking about, Nikki, that God wants you to have in college, that the party scene can keep you from experiencing. And that's why I think it's so significant that people are fighting to have life beyond that scene. So I don't know. You guys have a last thought to wrap up?
Yeah, I guess I would just say too, after like kind of leaving the party scene, you really can see in a lot of, and I'm sure you guys maybe have this too, like you really see who wants to come around you and care about you. Because like despite all my anxiety, depression, when I left the party scene, my team just ditched me, did not care at all. And I'm not saying everyone's experience will be like that, but you can really see people's true colors when you leave a lifestyle. I quit the softball team because I was becoming more worldly than I was bringing my team to know Christ. And that might be, like, these are, like, hard decisions that you might have to make, too, when, considering, okay, what's worth it to me for eternity and not just, like, my 4 or 5, 3 maybe years in college. Because you'll see, like, who really wants to come around you and help build you up and help grow you when you're in, like, a genuine environment. And that was, I think, what ended it for me, too.
That's good.
Feeling ditched by that. I don't know if you guys felt the same with that.
Yeah. 100%. I guess what I want to end on is that if you are in the party scene right now and you're really struggling with this and you're convicted, don't think you're too far away for God to redeem you.
Amen.
He's done a lot more.
I mean,
He's a
yeah,
lot more
all of
powerful
us
than that.
are talking about this because we all experience to varying degrees the party scene.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not, again, like nobody's too far away from Jesus in this conversation.
And also don't think that you've done too many bad things that God is no longer able to, like, use you.
Right.
Also.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
God has used what I've done in crazy ways. Like, just the relationships I made, like, foolishly, sinfully in those scenes. Like, last week I brought my roommate to church, and he's never done that. And
Right.
it was because, like, I don't know, God redeemed that, you know,
Right.
in crazy ways.
And
So,
you don't know how God's going to redeem
Mhm.
some of those experiences because he's
Yeah.
a redeeming God,
yeah.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we could probably go hours on this topic.
Mhm.
I could see
Yeah.
you guys still have a ton to say.
I
So
know,
maybe we'll
I
have to
do.
throw a part
Yeah.
2 together sometime.
Maybe.
Sure.
I really, really appreciate you guys coming on over to the office and downtown and talking. And if you're new to campus, either at UW Stevens Point or somewhere else, really think about these things. Actually pray about them because I think God wants to lead all of us in godly decision making and recognize the pressure is going to be huge and be prepared for it and trust God for maybe something better than just kind of giving in to what might feel easy, as we're talking about. So thank you guys so
Amen.
much. And that's a wrap. See you next time.
Thank
See
you.
ya.
Yeah.